Hi, I'm Darren Cox and we're here today at the wonderful Jubilee Pools. Really nice place this is. It's actually run by Leamington Spa Angling Association. They've got lots and lots of waters, but this is one of their real flagship venues. Two lakes, you've got the island and the horseshoe. This lake here is full of big carp, there's a lot of carp in here. Loads and loads of carp, some proper lads. But it's stuffed with big roach, skimmers and lots of bream. The other lake got loads of bream, loads of tench and again lots of carp in it. But we're here today just trying to catch a few fish on a pole. It's a really nice venue, it's all pretty much gravel, so you can fish wherever you want from 6-7 metres, but we'll set a long pole up, put some bait in and try and catch some skimmers. Should be a great day. Okay, so what we're going to do is just talk a little bit about the ground baits. As I say, we're trying to target some skimmers today, so I'm going to base my ground bait mix around quite a high fish meal content. I think it's really important on fisheries like this where they get a lot of pellets, they get a lot of fish meal fed, a lot of stuff chucked at them, and they're just tuned into to fish meal. Even roach, you know, even the roach on venues like this, you put ground bait in, as long as you've got the correct particles in that they want to eat, they still come over fish meal. It's amazing. If you want to catch roach specifically, then I probably wouldn't put any fish meal in, or I'd have a fish meal line and then I'd have a separate line with like a more roachy, sweet, nutty mix. But my mix today is it's amalgamation of ground baits. You can go straight from the bag. A lot of ground baits are really good, but I've got a specific mix that I like to use that works for me. First of all, my base mix is it's Thatcher's. Thatcher's ground bait is actually made by a local tackle shop down in Somerset Way. Again, it's a sweet fish meal. It's got some magic in it, and it's got other ingredients that we don't have a clue what's in it, but it just works. One of the things I think is really important when, you know, certain times of year the water starts to go clear, you need to be really mindful. A lot of people mix the ground baits up at home. I actually like to, if I've not been on the venue the day before, I've not seen the water, I like to get down to the water's edge, have a look in the water, see how clear it is, and try and mix and match the colours. So for me, autumn, winter time, a darker mix, but you get a lighter colour, you can actually get the correct mix you want. One of the other ground baits I use, and it's a bit of a strange one here, it's method mix. I love this because it's absolutely stuffed full of fish meal, and I can really spice my mix up there. So that's quite an inert mix. I can over wet it, especially when I'm on the pole. Over wet it, get the ground bait down on the bottom, put whatever particles I want into it, and just make the ground bait work for me. So it's a parcel to deliver the particles I want, with loads and loads of sweet and fish meal smell in it. Finally, one of the other things is pasticina. I absolutely swear by this when skimmers and bream are concerned. You just have to put it in your mix. You've got slightly over wetted, but it's brilliant stuff. It sort of gives you fish, the fish that come into your peg, there's always something there visible. If they've eaten all the particles, all the casters, all the worms, or whatever you put in there, this stuff is absolutely brilliant to just hold them in the peg. So what we'll do is we'll get it mixed up and we'll get up and on. Ready? Right, we're kicking off. Mix my ground bait up. You saw it was a heavily fish meal based, a lot of roach in here. We'll try and catch skimmers. Could still catch some roach because, like I said earlier, they do love fish meal. But I've put, basically I'm going to put 4 balls in like that. I've got lots of dead maggots in, lots of casters, a few pinkies and a little bit of chopped worm. So this, I'm going to put 4 balls in, 14.5 metres, and I'm going to go in and fish it. What I'm hoping then is I get a response from this initial feed. Then we'll start to top up. Yeah, I'll top up with smaller balls, but they'll be absolutely rammed with casters and chopped worm. That's a theory. Let's have a go, see what happens. In this instance, it's not important to get your ground bait down the same hole. We'll spread it out a little bit. You know, you're planning on catching a decent amount of skimmers, so you want an area for them to graze over. If it was freezing cold in winter and you're not putting much bait in, then it's a lot different. You know, you'd want to put it in a very tight zone, but here 4 balls there, like that, they're going, they'll break up a bit on the way down. We'll just put them in a little diamond or a square, so an area that, you know, that you can just move about over. And there's a bit of tow on the water, your bait moves about, your rig moves about, and you find that little hot spot where the bait's landed and focus on that area there. It's just a matter of making sure it all goes the right spot, not rushing, taking your time, checking every ball's squeezed up how you want it so it doesn't break up on the surface. Ground bait's slightly wetter than you would normally fish it, just to make sure it goes down. You want it to go down. It's a relatively inert mix, and it won't work a lot, but it'll open up. That's what you want. You want the fish on the bottom feeding properly. Well, we've been fishing about half an hour now. Started off, I was getting some funny bites. Put those 4 balls in. Funny bites, and I've just had 3 in 3 puts. Good skimmers. But before I got those funny bites, I was getting perch, a few perch bits and pieces. So I put a load of casters in my ground bait and put one really rich ball in. Right over where I put all the same stuff. Just think, like, you know, maybe feed the perch off, cut the chopped worm out, give them casters. I know perch eat casters, but skimmers absolutely love casters. Big particles on the bottom. Had those 3 in 3 puts, and I've just, oh, another one there. It's not as big that, but looks like it's a skimmer. But I'm gagging to put another ball in now, to be honest, because I think these fish are feeding. They're responding to feed, and the sooner I put another ball in, the more I can get them used to it. The bite's incredible. There's loads of fish in my peg, and my float is not stopping. It's up and down, and it's just a case of being patient. And if I'm not patient, I'll miss the bite. Now I'm going to put another ball in now, because I know I've just had a fish then, but in all honesty, when there's this many skimmers in your peg, just whether you're on the feeder, whether you're on the pole, whatever you're doing, you've got to feed them. They're hungry fish. So I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to whack a load of casters, and there's a little bit of chopped worm in there, but I'm going to whack as many casters into my ball as I can. So I squeeze it hard. It's slightly over wet, which is not a problem. I like it like that because it goes down, not a lot comes off it. Squeezing it hard, loads and loads of casters in there. So what I'm hoping is, drop that in, and those skimmers will be straight on that and be back on it. There's loads of fish in this venue, absolutely loads of fish. So if you don't feed regularly, you'll still catch, but you won't catch the big fish. There's just too many small fish in there. It's like a lot of venues you go to, a lot of commercials as well. You know, if you don't keep feeding, those bigger fish won't come. They'll back off. They won't be interested because there won't be much feed there. Got a very, very simple rig on. It's a gram rig. Got about 7.5, 8 foot of depth. Got a 14 Guru pellet hook on at the moment, which it's a nice fine hook, but it's a big hook. Can put 2 pieces of dendrobina on it nicely. Two casters. Thread 2 maggots on, and it's a really good hook to put on. Generally, they don't come off. So it'll be interesting to see what happens now with that ball gone in. I'd like to think that it'll go straight away. So the sign's up and down float. So there's lots of fish there. It's just being patient and watching what the float does. I'm trying not to work the float too much because I know there's fish there, so I want my bait to settle. There you go, instantly. That's another skimmer, I think. Good fish that is. And that was straight in after I fed. Right on top of the ball. 2 big pieces of dendrobina, so the fish can find it quickly. There must be loads of bait out there now, but they're on it. So another decent skimmer. What a pound fish. Proper weight builders these are, winter and summer. Absolutely love these fish. Just so obliging at times, and yeah, I wouldn't say they're easy to catch. At times they're not easy to catch. At times very easy to catch, but it's all about feeding and getting them there. Once you get them there, and you get them feeding on your terms rather than their terms, they'll line up. And I've just had one on that ball now. I'm going to try and get maybe 2 or 3 more on that ball, and then I'll think about putting another ball in. If you're fishing a feeder, you'd be chucking a feeder in all the time. So yeah, if you start on a feeder, then you put feeds in at the start, feeder fulls. If you start on the pole, you put pole pots in the start. So you've got to be mindful. You've got to regularly feed it. Keep those fish in your peg, especially in the match conditions. People around you are feeding it as well. You've got to boss your peg and boss around you. Up and down, look at that. A few there now. I thought that might be a perch then. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a great big roach. That for a roach. Absolutely beautiful fish. Right, it's lovely at the moment, absolutely lovely. Catching some good skimmers. It's a slightly smaller skimmer. The rig is really quite simple. It's a gram DC18. And at the moment, I've got it how I quite like it actually. When I'm fishing with skimmers, I quite like to have a high bulk. And that bulk is quite high. I've got 2 number 9 droppers below it and a bulk there, so it's about 2.5 foot, which is quite long. But like I said, I'm convinced that skimmers sit off the bottom a lot of the time. Even if they're feeding well, I think they're up and down, and like the heads are bobbing up and down like that, and you can often get some of them better fish on a slightly slow fall when they pick up those particles. So it's very simple rig. Wire stem, 1.5mm hollow tip, just for a bit of stability, visibility. The wire just gives it that nice bit of stability, and it's towing a bit and the wind's blowing the other way. And with a wire stem, you don't need to hang on to it all the time, because it just, with that little bit of wind, if you hold you pull up a little bit, you get slight bow in your line, and it'll just hold it still with that against that wire, and it gives you perfect presentation, especially for skimmers. One thing I would have, right there, which I haven't set up today, but when it's towing like this, I would definitely put my bump bar up as well. Very important, because you'd have to use it all the time, but it's good just to sit on it, put some line on the bottom and wait for those proper bites, especially if you're experiencing at liners and foul hook fish. The worst thing you can do is just let your rig move down. I mean, at the moment I'm getting great bites and it's just going under, it's beautiful. But if I was starting to get silly bites, I'd put it in front of me, sit on it and wait, and maybe even bring a bit more float out. For years I've always been adamant that like 5 diameter 1 or 1.2 like elastics have been very, very good solids. But now we've got these micro elastics, they're just unbelievable, micro hollows. And I've got a 1.2 in today, it's our Fighter High Stretch, and it's just beautifully elastic. You can set it with a bit of tension, and you can strike out, it still comes out. It's lovely. So any fish you get, whether it's like 2 or 3 ounce roach or a 3 or 4 pound bream, or even a bonus carp if carp allowed, you get them out. That's one of the beauties with, oh, there's another one. One of the beauties of this hollow elastic is, years ago we used to fish for bream and that on light rigs in winter. You get a carp on, chances are it'd take your elastic, never mind your rig. But with these micro hollows, they're just, you know, there's not much less stretch in them, but there's a lot more strength in terms of not breaking, and that's great for your rigs and stuff like that. Well, we've had a brilliant few hours fishing, and it's been seriously interesting. Really learnt lots. Fish have got bigger and bigger through the day. Had some good fish. Absolutely loving casters, these fish. And that is actually a small one for today, that. But feeding casters, lots of casters in ground bait. Double piece of worm on the hook, and you catch one of those every single chuck. Well, let's have a look what we caught.